Welcome to my channel, Valuable Coins All World. In this video, I tell you about the United States of America Washington quarter dollar, which are most valuable and rare. If you interested, please subscribe my channel. Thanks. Top 1. The 2001 Washington quarter dollar Kentucky coin is a true piece of American history, capturing the essence of both the nation's founding and the unique character of the state of Kentucky. For collectors and history enthusiasts alike, this quarter represents much more than just its face value of 25 cents. In fact, it's a symbol of Kentucky's rich heritage and a rare item that has become highly sought after in the numismatic world. As we delve into the story of this fascinating coin, we'll explore its origins, design, minting, and most importantly, why it has come to be valued at an astonishing $30,000 today. Our journey begins in the late 20th century when the United States Mint embarked on the 50 state quarters program, a project that would forever change the landscape of coin collecting. Launched in 1999, the program aimed to honor the unique qualities of each of the 50 states through the release of a series of commemorative quarters. Each state would have its own distinct design, showcasing its history, culture, or landmarks. It was an unprecedented initiative that brought the history of the United States into people's pockets. For coin collectors, it created a new era of excitement, and for everyday Americans, it provided an accessible way to celebrate their state pride. As the program moved forward, it was Kentucky's turn to be featured on the Washington quarter in 2001. The choice of design was no accident. Kentucky has long been recognized for its distinct cultural identity and historical significance. Known as the Bluegrass State, Kentucky is home to a rich tradition of horse racing, bourbon distilling, and a unique musical legacy. These elements would need to be captured on the quarter to reflect the state's spirit. The design that was ultimately chosen for the 2001 Kentucky quarter was the result of a collaboration between the United States Mint and local artists. On the obverse side of the quarter, you'll find the familiar portrait of George Washington, the nation's first president, as designed by John Flanagan. This design had been used since 1932 and remains a timeless tribute to the founding father. However, the reverse side of the coin tells a much more unique story. The design depicts a beautiful and iconic image that captures the essence of Kentucky. At the center of the design is a thoroughbred racehorse, a nod to Kentucky's long-standing association with horse racing. The horse is shown galloping past a fence, evoking the excitement and energy of the Kentucky Derby. Behind the horse is a background of rolling hills, symbolizing the state's lush, green landscape. Above the scene is the phrase, "My Old Kentucky Home," a reference to the state's official song and one of the most well-known tunes in American folk music. This phrase, along with the horse and the Kentucky countryside, perfectly captures the heart of the state and its deep-rooted cultural identity. The Kentucky quarter was officially released in March of 2001, and like the other quarters in the series, it was minted in both Philadelphia and Denver. It became an instant hit with collectors and the public alike. For many, it was simply a beautiful addition to their state quarter collection, which was quickly becoming one of the most popular hobbies in the United States at the time. For others, however, this particular quarter held a much greater appeal, one that would only become apparent years later. When the United States Mint struck these coins, they followed the usual procedures, producing millions of them in the hopes that they would circulate freely among the American public. The coin was available in regular circulation, which meant that people from across the country would have a chance to find one. However, as with most mass-produced coins, the vast majority of them were simply spent and lost their collector value. Still, a small percentage of these quarters would be set aside by collectors and enthusiasts who understood the potential future worth of these coins. But the Kentucky quarter wasn't just any coin. A specific variety of this quarter, minted under rare circumstances, has become incredibly valuable. As with many coins, errors in the minting process can lead to variations that become highly prized by collectors. The Kentucky 2001 quarter had a particularly rare error that would propel its value far beyond expectations. The error in question is known as the double die variety. A double die occurs when a coin is struck twice by the die during the minting process, causing the design to appear doubled. This can happen if the die used to strike the coin is improperly aligned, or if there's an issue with the press. In the case of the Kentucky quarter, this error resulted in the doubling of the word Kentucky on some of the coins. While this may sound like a minor flaw, in the world of coin collecting, Such an anomaly can significantly increase the value of the coin. This specific double die variety of the Kentucky quarter is incredibly rare, with only a small number of these error coins ever being produced. As a result, the value of these quarters skyrocketed over time. Initially, many people may have overlooked these subtle variations, not realizing that they had stumbled upon something extraordinary. But as the years passed and the coin collecting community became more aware of the error, demand for the 2001 Kentucky double die quarter began to grow. Collectors, eager to add such a rare find to their collection, started paying close attention to the 2001 Kentucky quarters, searching for those that bore the double die error. The rarity and uniqueness of the coin quickly caught the eye of both amateur and professional numismatists. As the value continued to climb, the Kentucky 2001 quarter became one of the most coveted items in the numismatic world. But what is the actual value of this coin today? Well, to put it simply, the Kentucky 2001 double die quarter is now worth an incredible $30,000 or more. Yes, you heard that right, $30,000. This is the price that some collectors are willing to pay for an authentic double die variety of the Kentucky quarter, making it one of the most valuable quarters in modern history. Why such a high price? It all comes down to rarity and demand. Only a limited number of these error coins were produced, and over time, they have become increasingly difficult to find. As with any rare collectible, the value of the coin is determined by how many people are willing to pay for it. The Kentucky double die quarter has become a holy grail for collectors, which drives its price up even further. Now, you may be wondering how to tell if you have one of these rare Kentucky quarters in your possession. It's actually not as difficult as it sounds, but it does require a keen eye. The key distinguishing feature of the double die error is the doubling of the word Kentucky on the reverse side of the coin. If you closely examine the word Kentucky, you should be able to see a noticeable shift in the lettering, giving the impression that the word is doubled or blurred. In some cases, the doubling may also be visible on the other parts of the design, such as the horse or the fence. If you find one of these rare double die quarters, you could be holding a coin worth tens of thousands of dollars. However, it's important to remember that not every 2001 Kentucky quarter will have this error. The vast majority of them are worth only their face value of 25 cents. As with any coin, it's essential to verify its authenticity before assuming that it's a valuable error coin. There are numerous resources available online, including coin grading services, that can help you determine if your quarter is the real deal. In addition to its potential for high value, the Kentucky 2001 quarter also holds a special place in the hearts of those who appreciate the artistry and symbolism behind its design. The image of the thoroughbred horse, the rolling hills, and the phrase, "My old Kentucky home," are all evocative of the state's cultural and historical significance. Even without the rare double die error, the Kentucky quarter is a beautiful and meaningful tribute to one of America's most unique and beloved states. As we reflect on the journey of the Kentucky 2001 quarter, from its initial release to its rise in value, it's clear that this coin has become more than just a piece of currency. It has become a symbol of Kentucky's enduring legacy and a testament to the art of coin design. For collectors, it's a reminder of the thrill of the hunt, the excitement of discovering something rare, and the satisfaction of owning a piece of American history. So, if you're lucky enough to have one of these rare 2001 Kentucky double die quarters in your collection, you might just have a small fortune on your hands. Even if you don't, you now have a greater appreciation for the incredible value that certain coins can hold. Whether it's the Kentucky quarter or any other coin, the world of numismatics is full of hidden treasures waiting to be discovered. So keep your eyes open, and who knows, you might just stumble upon your own piece of history worth $30,000 or more. Top 2. In the world of coin collecting, some pieces stand out not just for their historical significance, but for the value they can command in the market. The 1974 Washington quarter dollar is one of those coins. At first glance, it might seem like a simple, everyday piece of U.S. currency, a 25-cent coin with a long and storied history. But if you dig a little deeper, you'll uncover a fascinating tale of design, minting history, and, most importantly, a surprising twist that has led to some of these coins reaching values upwards of $45,000. Let's rewind to the early 1970s, a time when the United States was experiencing political turbulence, economic shifts, and cultural change. The early 1970s were marked by a struggling economy, rising inflation, and the fallout from the Vietnam War, which had deeply affected the national psyche. The Watergate scandal was unraveling in Washington, D.C., while the country was beginning to grapple with the lasting effects of a decade-long war. Amid all of this, American coinage was also undergoing a shift. The heart of this change was the U.S. Mint's efforts to deal with the rising cost of precious metals. For decades, the quarter had been struck using a silver-copper alloy. However, as the price of silver began to rise sharply, the mint faced increased costs to produce these silver quarters. By 1965, the United States had already phased out silver in most coins, replacing it with a copper-nickel-clad composition to lower production expenses. Yet, the 1974 Washington quarter, despite being part of this modernized batch of coins, would still contain some elements that would make it historically significant. The 1974 Washington quarter is part of the continuing legacy of the Washington quarter series, which had been first introduced in 1932. The Washington quarter, designed by John Flanagan, features a profile of George Washington on the obverse, and for decades it remained relatively unchanged, becoming one of the most familiar coins in U.S. circulation. The reverse design, also created by Flanagan, depicts a majestic eagle perched on a bundle of arrows and an olive branch, symbolizing the balance between peace and strength. This classic imagery has endured over the years and remains a recognizable symbol of the nation's resolve. In 1974, there were three primary minting locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The Philadelphia Mint produced the majority of quarters that went into circulation. These coins, unless marked with a D mint mark, were considered to be no mint mark quarters. Denver struck quarters that carried the D mint mark, while the San Francisco Mint was primarily focused on producing proof coins, which were meant for collectors rather than for general circulation. These proof coins, especially those produced with special dies for a polished, mirror-like finish, have become much more desirable in the numismatic community due to their stunning appearance and limited production. The Washington quarter from 1974 was part of the ongoing design series, and though it was a regular issue coin, it wasn't without its quirks and hidden details that would play a crucial role in its collector appeal many years down the line. The main issue with the 1974 quarter lies in a rare and often elusive feature that only became apparent to coin collectors much later: the 1974 double die quarter. But before we dive into the story of the double die error, let's take a moment to appreciate the standard design of the 1974 Washington quarter. The obverse features the familiar portrait of George Washington, facing left, surrounded by the inscriptions "Liberty" and "In God We Trust." The date, 1974, is placed below Washington's bust, along with the mint mark, if present. On the reverse side, the eagle takes center stage, its wings spread wide, perched on arrows with an olive branch held in its talons, signifying the peaceful yet resilient nature of the country. The words "United States of America" and "E Pluribus Unum" complete the reverse design, surrounding the eagle with the denomination quarter dollar written below. From a casual perspective, there's nothing particularly unusual about the 1974 Washington quarter. It was produced in large quantities and circulated widely across the United States. In fact, over 800 million 1974 quarters were minted that year, most of which were simply spent in daily transactions, fading into obscurity as just another coin in the pocket. But hidden among these millions of quarters were a few rare examples that would eventually come to define the coin's place in numismatic history. In 1974, as with other years, the U.S. Mint used various dies to strike coins. Normally, these dies are used just once or twice before being replaced or adjusted. However, in some instances, a slight misalignment or error can occur during the minting process. This can result in a double die error, a phenomenon where a coin's design appears to be struck multiple times, with the second strike misaligned from the first. This results in a visual doubling of some elements of the coin's design. The 1974 Washington quarter is one of the most famous examples of a double die error. For reasons still unclear, a small number of quarters struck at the Philadelphia Mint that year displayed this error. The doubling can be seen in several places on the coin, but it is most noticeable in the inscription "Liberty" and the date, 1974. In some instances, the doubling effect can even be seen in the motto "In God We Trust" on the obverse. The error is subtle but unmistakable to a trained eye. Now, why does this error matter? In the world of coin collecting, minting errors are often highly prized, especially when they occur in coins that are otherwise widely produced. A double die error is considered one of the most dramatic and valuable types of minting mistakes because it makes a coin stand out in a way that is immediately noticeable. For collectors, finding a coin with such a distinctive flaw can be like striking gold. The rarity of such an error, combined with the popularity of the Washington quarter design, has led to a surge in demand for the 1974 double die quarter. To truly understand why this coin has become such a coveted item, we need to consider a few key factors: rarity, demand, and condition. Only a very small number of the 1974 Washington quarters were affected by the double die error, making it extremely rare. Even among collectors, it can be difficult to identify an authentic double die coin, as the error is subtle and requires a keen eye to spot. The demand for this particular variety has driven its price up over time, especially as awareness of the error has spread through the numismatic community. A key factor in determining the value of a coin is its condition. Coins that are found in excellent or uncirculated condition, meaning they show little to no wear, are generally worth much more than those that have been circulated heavily and show signs of age or damage. The 1974 double die Washington quarter is no exception. Coins that are graded as MS 65 or higher can command tens of thousands of dollars, while lower-graded coins still hold significant value due to their rarity. So, what is the value of the 1974 Washington double die quarter today? Given its rarity and the increased interest from collectors, the 1974 double die quarter is worth far more than its original face value of 25 cents. In fact, a well-preserved, high-grade example of this coin can fetch as much as $45,000 at auction. Yes, you read that right, $45,000. This price reflects the rarity of the coin, its error, and the high demand among collectors who are willing to pay a premium to add this gem to their collection. The allure of the 1974 Washington quarter goes beyond just its monetary value, though. It's a piece of American history, encapsulating the cultural and political shifts of the 1970s. It is also a reminder of the craftsmanship of the U.S. Mint, where even small errors can lead to extraordinary outcomes. For collectors, the 1974 double die Washington quarter represents the excitement of discovery, the thrill of finding a rare coin that has eluded the eyes of so many. Now, you might be wondering, how can you tell if you have one of these rare coins in your collection? The most important thing to look for is the doubled lettering and numbers on the coin, especially in the word Liberty and the date, 1974. The error is most prominent in these areas, and with careful inspection, you should be able to spot the misalignment. Use magnification or a magnifying glass to closely examine the coin. If you notice the doubling, you may have stumbled upon one of the most valuable coins in modern U.S. coinage. If you do find a 1974 double die Washington quarter, it's recommended to have it professionally graded by a reputable coin grading service to verify its authenticity and to get an official valuation. A certified coin with a high grade could be worth far more than you ever expected, and this could be your chance to own a piece of American numismatic history. In conclusion, the 1974 Washington quarter dollar may seem like a typical piece of U.S. currency at first, but as we've seen, it's far from ordinary. The rarity of the 1974 double die error, combined with its historical significance and increasing demand among collectors, has elevated its value to astronomical heights. For coin enthusiasts and collectors, finding this coin is a thrilling and rewarding experience that could lead to a small fortune. And for those fortunate enough to own a 1974 double die Washington quarter, it represents not just a rare and valuable collectible, but a tangible connection to a defining moment in American history. Top 3. The 1980 Washington quarter is more than just a simple coin. It's a fascinating snapshot of a particular moment in American history, a period marked by economic challenges, political shifts, and an evolving approach to coinage. In this deep dive into the 1980 Washington quarter, we will explore the historical context of its release, the intricate details of its design, the minting process, and the collector appeal that has made this coin a sought-after treasure. And, of course, we'll take a look at why this coin has managed to achieve an impressive market value of $40,000 today. Let's set the stage. The year 1980 was a turning point for the United States in many ways. The country was dealing with high inflation and unemployment, a lingering aftershock from the oil crises of the 1970s. President Jimmy Carter was in the White House, and the nation was deeply divided over a number of issues, from foreign policy to economic strategies. The American people were feeling the pressures of a sluggish economy, while the global landscape was becoming increasingly tense. This era of instability had an effect on all aspects of American life, including the country's currency in terms of coinage. The 1980s marked the continuation of a trend that had begun earlier in the decade: coin composition changes, specifically the use of copper-nickel alloys for all circulating coins. The United States Mint had started phasing out the use of silver in coins in the 1960s, and by the early 1980s, all standard circulating coins, including quarters, had been completely converted to a copper-nickel-clad composition. This was done to reduce production costs and protect the nation's dwindling silver reserves, which were becoming increasingly valuable in global markets. The Washington quarter, introduced in 1932 to honor the first president of the United States, had already gone through a number of changes over the decades, and by 1980, it was firmly entrenched in American circulation. The coin featured the same familiar design, and it would remain unchanged until the 1990s when the U.S. Mint began to issue state quarters in 1999. But the 1980 quarter holds a unique place in the history of U.S. coinage, not necessarily for its design, but for the small details that would go on to define its collector appeal. The Washington quarter has always been a favorite of numismatists, thanks to its classic design and the lasting popularity of George Washington as an American icon. On the obverse, the front of the 1980 quarter, we find the profile of George Washington, facing left. This portrait was based on a bust of Washington created by French sculptor Jean-Antoine Houdon, and it has been used on the quarter since 1932. Surrounding Washington's portrait are the inscriptions "Liberty" and "In God We Trust," as well as the date 1980 below his bust. On the reverse, the back of the coin, we find the same design that has graced the quarter since 1932, a majestic bald eagle with wings spread wide. The eagle is perched on a bundle of arrows and an olive branch, representing the United States' strength and commitment to peace. Beneath the eagle, we see the words United States of America and E Pluribus Unum, as well as the denomination quarter dollar. This enduring design has remained largely unchanged for nearly 50 years by the time the 1980 quarter was minted, making the 1980 Washington quarter feel like a continuation of a long tradition. It was produced in large numbers and widely circulated across the country, so most people who encountered this coin thought little of it. Yet, as we will explore, there were factors at play during the 1980s that would later propel this coin into the spotlight of the numismatic world. The minting of the 1980 Washington quarter took place at three primary locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The Philadelphia Mint produced the majority of the circulating quarters that year, and these coins did not bear a mint mark. The Denver Mint also produced quarters, which were marked with the D mint mark, while the San Francisco Mint struck proof coins, which were sold to collectors. These proof coins, which were made with specially polished dies, have always been much more sought after due to their exceptional quality and attention to detailed in the 1980s. U.S. coinage was struck with new, highly polished dies to give the coins a smoother, more refined appearance than the worn dies of previous decades. This was part of an effort by the U.S. Mint to improve the overall quality of coins produced for circulation. As a result, the 1980 quarter, especially the proof coins, often appears with a sharp, crisp design, with clear details that make the coin visually appealing. This focus on quality would become an important aspect of the coin's value in the decades to come. For the vast majority of people, the 1980 Washington quarter was simply a coin to be used in everyday transactions. It was one of many quarters used for everything from paying tolls to buying groceries. It wasn't particularly rare or valuable, and its circulation numbers reflect this. Over 600 million quarters were minted in 1980. Yet despite the high mintage, it wasn't long before collectors began to notice that there was something special about certain examples of the 1980 Washington quarter. While the design remained familiar and unchanged, a significant number of the 1980 quarters were found to have small variations and errors. Among the most important of these variations were those involving the dies used in the minting process. Like many coins of the time, the The 1980 Washington quarter was produced using a mix of newly prepared and older dies, some of which had been used for earlier years' issues. This led to some coins being struck with incomplete or worn-out designs, while others were affected by various minor production flaws. One of the most notable features that began to emerge during the 1980s was a distinct die clash effect. This happens when the dies used to strike the coin come into direct contact with each other without a planchet, the blank coin, in between. This can result in faint, unintentional images being imprinted onto the coin. These die clashes often go unnoticed in the general public's view, but to experienced collectors, they present a unique opportunity to acquire a rare and valuable piece of history. Another factor that contributed to the growing appeal of the 1980 Washington quarter was the presence of off-center strikes and other slight variations in the coin's alignment. Because of the way the coin was struck, some of these quarters appeared to have been misaligned during the minting process, causing certain elements of the design, such as the date or the inscriptions, to be positioned differently than usual. These off-center or misaligned coins were often seen as errors, and they piqued the interest of collectors looking for unique and rare examples of everyday currency. But it wasn't just minting errors that contributed to the rise in value of the 1980 Washington quarter. As time passed and more collectors began to focus on the coin's overall quality and condition became more important. High-grade examples of the 1980 Washington quarter, particularly those that were kept in pristine condition and free from wear and tear, became increasingly valuable. With only a small number of these well-preserved quarters surviving in excellent condition, they became highly sought after by collectors. As with any coin, the value of the 1980 Washington quarter is determined by its rarity, condition, and demand. While most of the quarters minted that year were circulated and remain relatively inexpensive, a small subset of these coins, especially those that were struck with die clashes, off-center strikes, or are in superb uncirculated condition, have become highly valuable. The highest quality coins, those that have been graded by professional grading services like the Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, NGC, or Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS, can fetch tens of thousands of dollars in the marketplace. The value of a 1980 Washington quarter can vary significantly depending on its grade. Coins that are graded in mint state, particularly those that are MS 65 or higher, are considered to be in exceptional condition and can command higher prices. As of recent auction results and sales records, a high-grade 1980 Washington quarter can fetch anywhere from $100 to $5,000. However, one particular 1980 Washington quarter, an example with an off-center strike, perfect clarity, and no signs of wear, has recently sold for over $40,000 at auction. This $40,000 sale has set the coin apart from many other pieces of American currency, making it one of the most valuable quarters in the modern numismatic world. Such a high price is not only a reflection of the coin's rarity, but also its appeal to collectors who recognize its unique qualities and its connection to the cultural and economic history of the 1980s. How do you know if you have one of these rare and valuable 1980 Washington quarters in your possession? The key is to closely examine the coin for any signs of misalignment, die clashes, or other variations in the design. While some of these imperfections may be subtle, they can be the difference between a quarter worth a few cents and one that could potentially earn you a small fortune. If you think you've found a high-quality 1980 Washington quarter, it's recommended to have it professionally graded and authenticated by a reputable grading service. A certified coin with a high grade could be worth far more than you ever expected, and it might just be the gem that completes your collection. In conclusion, the 1980 Washington quarter dollar may seem like a simple, everyday coin, but its historical significance, unique variations, and rarity have made it one of the most coveted coins in modern numismatics. Top 4. In 1999, the U.S. Mint embarked on a historical and artistic project that would captivate numismatists and collectors alike for decades. They introduced the 50-state quarters program, which was a remarkable initiative aimed at honoring each of the 50 states in the Union. As part of this series, every state received a specially designed quarter, each showcasing unique aspects of the state's history, culture, or significant symbols. Among these coins, one particularly stands out. The Connecticut quarter, minted in 1999. Imagine standing in a bustling mint, where workers are carefully pressing freshly designed coins with intricate details. Each coin tells a story, not just of currency, but of heritage. The Connecticut quarter is no exception. It was the fifth coin in the series, and it tells the story of the Constitution state. With a population steeped in historical significance and a state that played a key role in the foundation of the United States, the Connecticut quarter would go on to become a favorite for many collectors. The design of this quarter is rich with symbolism and depth. At the center of the coin is an image of a vessel known as the charter oak. This oak tree, once towering in Hartford, Connecticut, became an enduring symbol of the state's resilience and independence. In 1687, during the colonial era, the British attempted to seize the colony's royal charter. Legend has it that the charter was hidden in the hollow of this majestic oak tree, thus preserving it for future generations. The story of the charter oak became a symbol of the state's unyielding spirit, and it is beautifully immortalized on the coin. Surrounding the tree's depiction are the words, "The Constitution State," as well as the year of minting, 1999, along with the inscriptions Connecticut and E Pluribus Unum, a nod to the nation's unity. The reverse side of the coin, like all U.S. quarters, carries the classic image of George Washington, but with a slight alteration to make it fit seamlessly into the overall design of the state quarters program. The coin's minting took place at various U.S. mint facilities, with millions of Connecticut quarters being produced. However, not all of these coins are identical. While the vast majority of them are relatively common and can be found in circulation, certain editions of the 1999 Connecticut quarter have been discovered to hold special value. This is where the real intrigue lies for collectors, as the condition and rarity of a coin can influence its value significantly. When it comes to any coin, condition is paramount. Coins that are well preserved, with little to no wear or discoloration, are highly sought after. In numismatic terms, these coins are said to be in mint state condition. For the Connecticut quarter, one of the key factors that distinguishes it from its counterparts is the level of detail on the charter oak design. A quarter with crisp details, no signs of damage, and a pristine surface is considered especially valuable. But it's not just the condition that dictates the worth of these coins. The 1999 Connecticut quarter also has its share of errors and unique variations. For instance, some of the coins struck that year had minting defects, such as double strikes, misaligned dies, or even off-center designs, that have made them exceptionally rare. These errors have driven up the demand for specific 1999 Connecticut quarters, as collectors are eager to acquire them for their rare and unusual characteristics. Now, let's address the question on every collector's mind. What is the value of the 1999 Connecticut quarter, and why is it so much more valuable than the face value of just 25 cents? As of recent estimates, a well-preserved 1999 Connecticut quarter can be worth anywhere from a few dollars to several hundred, depending on its condition. But the true gem, the coin that collectors are willing to spend thousands for, is the pristine, error-ridden variety. A perfect, mint-state Connecticut quarter, or one with a significant error, has been known to fetch up to $25,000 at auction. Yes, you heard that right, $25,000. This high value is due to several factors: rarity, demand, and the special place that this coin holds in American numismatic history. A coin like this, in perfect condition with an error, is a treasure, not just a piece of currency but a slice of history that takes us back to the founding principles of the United States. The Connecticut quarter's value is also influenced by its place in the broader context of the 50-state quarters program. This program was a huge success, attracting interest from all corners of the globe, as it gave people the opportunity to collect coins that honored their home states. As time has passed, the coins from this series have become increasingly rare, especially in the pristine conditions or with the errors that collectors covet. Each coin is not only a financial investment but also a cultural artifact, a way to preserve the memory of the past while celebrating the progress the nation has made. But what makes the Connecticut quarter even more special for collectors is its connection to the state's history. The story of the charter oak is legendary in Connecticut, and by having it immortalized on the quarter, it offers a powerful link to the past. Owning one of these rare quarters is akin to holding a piece of American history in your hand. Collectors and investors alike are constantly on the lookout for coins with significant historical value, and the 1999 Connecticut quarter certainly fits that mold. Whether it's a pristine coin or one with a fascinating error, this quarter has become one of the most desirable pieces in the world of numismatics. For those fortunate enough to own one, the investment could pay off handsomely, sometimes with a return far greater than anyone could have imagined when the quarter was first minted. But even for those who don't yet own one of these remarkable quarters, the story behind the coin itself is something to marvel at. The 1999 Connecticut quarter is a reminder of the unique and often overlooked history of our nation, how each state played a role in shaping the United States, and how the symbols of our heritage continue to resonate today. So, next time you come across a 1999 Connecticut quarter, don't just let it slip by unnoticed. Take a closer look. You might just have a hidden treasure in your pocket, ready to make history, and possibly even a fortune. In conclusion, the 1999 Connecticut quarter is not just a coin. It's a symbol of the enduring spirit of the state and a representation of American pride. With its historic ties to the Charter Oak and its role in the groundbreaking 50-state quarters program, this coin holds a significant place in numismatic history. The most pristine and error-struck examples of this quarter can be worth up to an astonishing $25,000, making it a must-have for serious collectors and a potential goldmine for the lucky few who find one in perfect condition. Whether you're a seasoned numismatist or a casual collector, the 1999 Connecticut quarter serves as a reminder of the beauty and history that coins can carry.